Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Berry and Robinson and Friends, seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. I want to welcome our millions of viewers worldwide. I want to introduce our very talented co-host, Miss Jackie Williams.
Hello, everyone.
Mr. Henry Hatter.
Hi, Jackie. Hi, Ron.
Hi. Let's talk about racial gerrymandering. Okay? I think it's about time to end that. I think there's something in the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, there's a number of lawsuits specifically targeting the use of gerrymandering. Henry, what do you think about gerrymandering?
Well, gerrymandering is not intended to always spell race. It was started by a long time ago before people of color became a target. And it was politicians who wanted to seek an advantage over the other party. So they structured areas that usually were called for areas to be contiguous and as square as possible. But they decided to follow the trail of either Democrats or Republicans in irregular ways, and then they drew those out as their respective districts. But racial gerrymandering is something new that came about through business efforts mostly, and housing and stuff like that. But political gerrymandering is something that we've always dealt with.
Well, they just had a ruling. They just had a ruling on that, didn't they? They had to redo the districts. I think in Michigan was one of them, right?
Yeah. The people who argue against gerrymandering are the people who lost. But this is...
I don't think it's the people that lost. I just think that it's not a fair advantage because the reason why the Supreme Court ruled is because it gives a Republican an advantage, because what it does is it
See, that's what I mean. We're talking the same thing.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but it shouldn't. If you do it fair and everybody just go out and vote, it should just be whoever wins. It should not be, I got to draw this line so I can have more people.
But the next election cycle, when Democrats win, Republicans complain. I don't know why they complain. If you lost, you lost.
No, what it is, we need to take a cheat sheet and so we can get some tips, because that's...
if it happens, it tends to balance out.
It's not balancing out.
No, it's not.
It's not balancing out.
But it is. Democrats will have the seat at the table. It all balances out.
Right now, I need a whole lot of seats at the table.
I don't like gerrymandering either.
Okay.
But I just look at it and say, oh my goodness, there's nothing I can do about it. And people won't do anything because we're flawed that way.
That's true too, Jackie. You had an important. You said something of importance here in Michigan. What they do, okay? They send thousands of prisoners up north, okay, in Republican areas, and they use them as part of their count system. All right. See. Therefore, when they use them as far as their count system, that means it could be a congressperson, all right, or a representative that has an opportunity to get in office, he or she.
But guess what the advantage for the people who live in downtown Detroit or some of the other major cities? You move that element of people out of your community and you put them somewhere else. And people don't want criminals around them. Not in my backyard.
But then if they don't want...
So there are disadvantages no matter how you look at it.
If they don't want them, then they shouldn't count them.
Right.
As part of the population either. And that's what Michigan does.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying they don't want them. They create jobs up there.
No.
Yeah.
Not the prisoners, they don't want the prisons up there, but they want the count.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course they want the count. That's logical. There's nothing wrong with that. But generally, people don't want prisoners in their backyard. You've heard that lots of times. But these people are doing a service for people who live in large communities. They're giving them a safety factor that they never had before.
But that's also part of gerrymandering.
Yeah,
You know?
and I don't. Yeah, that is, but I don't.
Because there's probably some hidden advantages because I can't picture the Republicans went out of their way.
Unless you can demonstrate that
Yeah.
you're fishing.
Because you got more money
No, I
coming
just
into
think
the
no, because
hidden.
that's why they fought so much. That's why they fought so much to have them, and that's why they were so upset when they were redistricting these places because the Supreme Court said it was just unfair all the way across the board. So it has
Unfair
to
to whom?
be humans.
I mean, who make the decisions? It's the people in power. The people who have the influence, the people who are authorized by we the
Well,
people.
that's why we're in the trouble we're in right now because of this.
I don't see the trouble.
Because in Michigan, they said that we are a Republican state, which I disagree.
Oh no, we're not a Republican state.
We
Not at
voted
all.
Republican. They
No.
said that because of the,
We're not
the
a
way that
Republican.
it
We
was
haven't
set.
been a Republican state in many, many years.
But I'm saying-
probably not even the century.
Michigan turned for Donald Trump. We have never.
Michigan. That's one instant out of multiple.
But I'm wondering, is it because of that districting?
I know.
Then I'm sure it has something to do with
Right,
it.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but
Because they were very surprised. They were
But
very
people
surprised.
up and down. See, and this is where people who think that they can move the system in any way they want to, they miss the point. The point is that Michigan is not a Republican state. It hasn't been for, I don't believe it's been a Republican state this century. It might have had Republican presidents.
No,
not
we're
necessarily
controlled.
doing,
Our houses and all of that is controlled by Republicans.
but that's
right now.
that's only a snapshot. Traditionally, this is a Democrat state. It's been a union state. It's always controlled that way. Republicans probably complain much as Democrats complain when they didn't win.
But it went Republican and
For Donald Trump, yeah. When people said, I like Donald Trump. And that's the people's choice. See, we may not see the choices that are beneficial to us, but there are other people helping to make those choices. And you need to give them their choice to maintain a free and democratic society.
But it's not a free and democratic society when you got certain people, okay, that are in control of the Senate and the House, and they all lopsided, okay, and vote for, you know, they have the votes to pass this gerrymandering stuff. You know what I mean?
Gerrymandering's been around a long time.
Sure.
Democrats have done the same thing.
But that's true, but that doesn't make it right. Okay?
No, it doesn't make it right, but it all balances out.
No, it doesn't.
We have nothing.
It doesn't.
If it was gerrymander, don't take a look at Dan Kilde's area. It is horrifically gerrymandered. Do
No.
I object?
It's
No.
democratic. There's a difference between being a Democrat and a Republican. Flint and surrounding areas.
We're talking about gerrymandering.
It's always
I'm
been
sorry,
Democratic.
guys. We're talking about gerrymandering.
Exactly.
And the folks, the body and that kind of legislation who drives it, and that's based on Democrats and Republicans who come together to decide how a district will be structured.
But then why is there so many lawsuits?
Well, people who want advantages, we will always have,
Yeah,
and
but
as
I'm
long as
saying
we have
that's why-
attorneys,
well, that's
the
why
attorneys got a job.
Well, that's why the Supreme Court ruled on it because they said it was unfair the way that they had it because the Republicans had the advantage in so many different states because they were adding all of these loopholes to being able to win districts without having to try harder because it was zoned just where they would get what they needed. Then they added all of these.
How do you justify Dan Kilde's district? How highly gerrymandered. It looks like a salamander. It moves up from Flint up through the thumb and right out, carved back in, and follows 75
So who
down.
put that together?
Well,
It wasn't
together
Kennedy
before
that
he
put
got
that
there.
together.
Democrats. They made the decision. Yes,
How did they make the decision? They
because
don't.
Dan Kilde's district was so much different than it was, than it is now.
You mean the other guy?
No, guys, I don't want to sound negative, and I'm not against Dan Kildee. I'm not
You're
against
just using
the
an
jury.
example. I understand. You're just
I'm
using
using
an
it as
example.
And I say that there's nothing wrong with it.
I disagree because that's why the
And
Supreme
it
Court.
favors Democrats. Now, listen to what I said. You didn't hear what I said. It favors Democrats.
You're
And
talking
I
about
see
Dan
nothing-
Kildee.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, but most of it favors Republicans.
Well, I guess the people decide that.
No, it's the people. It's
The people who vote for Republicans.
It's the people up
decide
there in
that.
Lansing or in Washington.
Right.
No, it's Lansing.
That decide, to decide this foolishness on this gerrymandering.
Yeah, but people vote for the candidates that are in the majority to establish.
But if their
gerrymandering.
districts are not fairly drawn, they will never get the votes that they need.
Well,
That's right.
That's the whole point.
We got
okay.
some of these diagrams that are crooked than a snake's back.
Yeah.
No,
You know what I mean?
I have no problem with this because I've seen gerrymandering done the way it's done. Consider the black district in Genesee County. It is gerrymandered to favor a Democrat. There's no way a Republican can win the current, the one that, let's see, what's it?
Kildee?
No, what's her?
Weaver?
No, it's Shelton Healy.
Oh my.
That district is gerrymandered only to favor a Democrat. It will never change. It will never be any different, and a Republican will never win it. Think about that. Is
Yeah,
that
but-
unfair? Not in your view, from your lens. That's
But I'm
fine.
saying, but it's not like Shelton did it.
Oh, please don't run away from it. But look
But I'm
what he
saying,
did. Look
so
what
let's
he
go
did.
back
It
to let's
doesn't-
get to the root of the cause. So who did it?
The Democrats did that. They made sure that we had a black area that could elect a black person to the state legislature. Is there anything wrong with that? Nope.
Now,
Nothing wrong with it.
who was before him?
Mayor Stanley.
Before Mayor Stanley, was it always black people?
Yes, it's always been black people since that district was created. It was created about 30 or 40 years ago. Now, you go back and
But-
study that.
That was because Flint was dominantly
Wait.
Americans of African descent.
Yeah.
Okay?
No.
Yes.
It's dominant now. It wasn't
Well-
dominant that
well-
back then.
It was dominant back then.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, in terms of African Americans.
I think.
Flint.
Yeah, Flint is about 60% black now.
Mhm.
But in those days, 40 years ago, it wasn't 60% black. It's the whites that moved out. And they left this bank of people left. But yet, look at this, guys. We still only have one black representative to Lansing, to the House. You got everybody else packed right in this one district. Look what you lose. Had you had them randomly spaced and you had some good candidates, you might have several black people in Lansing. But everybody's packed into Sheldon Needles district. And I know that there are a lot of people that don't understand it, but as I'm talking, I'll bet you that a lot of people understand it now.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I want to just go back to the root of the cause.
Okay.
We didn't do it.
Well, you had to do something because blacks were, they were
But I'm saying-
begging for an opportunity to have their own elected official, and they got it. And what they did, they manipulated this area, packed it concisely, as
So they
square
could turn-
and as contiguous as possible, and they put all of these people in this one group.
So that's what you guys did with the rest of America.
Well, I don't know whether we do it. That the people
Because that's what they said. Because they said
the
this.
people decide that.
No, the Republicans.
No, the Republicans are
They
not-
got in a lot of
The
trouble for
Republicans is not the people.
unfairly drawing these regions, and that's why it came to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but the Republicans are not the people. The people are people that I don't even know. I mean, they not even like. If I saw them, I don't support. But they're good people because they believe in some circumstances the same as I do. Good
Well,
government, good public policy.
Also, too, is they
They're flawed,
believe
though.
they believe in what's going to keep them in power.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's part of the human nature.
Like Reverend Barber in North Carolina, okay? He's having a big problem with just gerrymandering, okay? And I think he's got something going to the, he's the president of the NAACP state chapter in North Carolina. He's catching all kind of blues because of the state is so gerrymandered, okay?
But
and
you said-
that's on its way to the Supreme Court, and I hope he wins.
Your question is, well, how do we stop this?
Mm-hmm.
There's only one way you can stop that.
Which is?
You have to join people who are sensitive to your causes. But they happen to be white. But yet you can shoot the white, you condemn them, and say, this is all about black or whites. But there are whites out there that would join your cause and change things if you had the political savvy and mindset to do it.
Well, I don't think it's so much not wanting to be a team player, but we've just been burned so much.
Oh, those are excuses.
No,
those
but
are
the
excuses
reality-
that
Hang
have
on, guys.
reality.
You know what?
Reality, because
There's a lot of change. We are better off today than we've ever been.
well, the difference is
And we're still
Some
wallowing
things
in
were-
our body fluids.
no, because we're not waddling in our body fluids when we have footage. We have footage now that we've never had before, and even with people knowing that things are being recorded, they're still doing stuff and finding it on camera. So just imagine all of this stuff that wasn't recorded. So I don't think there's not wanting to
Then
be
it's
team
not a
players.
problem.
We just can't trust
If
you
it wasn't
wholeheartedly.
if it wasn't recorded and there's no proof of it, it never existed.
That's not true.
That is true.
That's
our
fake
our
news.
black
We
history
live- we
was
live
never
in-
recorded.
we live
but,
in a-
but it's still a fact
We live
of
in a
life.
democracy, and you're
Henry, that's fake
you're
news.
not guilty until proven.
Henry,
And you guys are saying, you're condemning people without knowing.
we
That's
do know
that's
that.
not American.
What's not American is for you to think that they can work together. When we keep having videos to come where you're kicking people in the head and they're in handcuffs, we can't be a team player if we're not doing things that are
Those are
team
not
oriented.
typical incidents. Those are not typical.
Sure
Sure,
they
that
are.
happens. Sure, that happens.
Every-
Those are
every day
random
in
incidents.
America.
But you
It is
condemn
typical.
all of the American people, and that's wrong.
No, we're
Nobody's
not condemning
condemning
all the
everybody.
American people.
Yes,
we're
you do.
just
You condemn
condemning
everybody.
people in office.
Yeah.
People in office.
But you don't want to condemn the people who
Who do
are your
wrong.
support system.
Who do wrong.
No, the people who are your support system. You got to go to people to help solve your problem.
But not if the people are crooked, Henry.
Well, then the people who are crooked are not the American people. The American people are all completely different. They are made of you and me and John and everybody else. That's the American people.
Well,
And
who
there's
are these
not-
people?
Huh?
Who are these people?
Well, I don't know what people you're talking about.
I'm talking about these
I'm
people.
talking about the people are completely different. They are people that you can trust. The American people have never made an accident or caused a problem that it did not intend to happen.
I disagree.
Well, it's the way we live today. It was decided by the American people, and the way we will live tomorrow will be decided. If we want to change gerrymandering, we design processes and functions with that target in mind to destroy gerrymandering.
How would you change it, Mr.
Well,
Henry?
I would certainly create programs that get as many whites and as many Republicans as they possibly can.
Programs such as what?
You got to start off with discussions. You got to have, first of all, you got to have a mission, and you got to have objectives. And you got to have strategies.
And you also have to have reality. You have to deal with reality because that's
And what would that be?
the reality is. There is really a lot of issues that are not being addressed.
But that's the same problem that we're trying to solve.
But I'm saying, in order for you to solve it, you have to come to the table with the right conversation.
Well, I mean, you have to have a starting point.
Right.
You got to be able to work
Right.
with people. People are more rational than you think they are. Well,
They're more what?
there are a lot of people who are negative, who are anti this and anti that, and they absolutely mean. But there are people who are also logical and who will listen to you if you give them a chance. It's like white people, and I hate to use this word, but this is reality, as you say. When they can use the tools of logic that our culture has developed for us to figure out how to solve our problem. Logic. And if you can come to people with a logical approach to a problem, you will get it solved. It's a logical approach. And I don't want to get onto another subject, but it's like, for example, the Tuskegee Airmen. And they hated the name of Tuskegee Airmen. And they were put up with some terrible conditions.
Right.
Those which you will never know. But yet, when the war ended, a lot of people came home. They were broken and beaten and torn and didn't know why. Then there were a lot of them who were happy that the war was over and they had survived. But then the Tuskegee Airmen came home jubilant. Why? They had broken the back of subserviency, of poverty, and looked to the future without the acrimony. You know what acrimony is? Pissing and moaning.
What you call it?
Never mind.
Henry to get out.
Now we know this is a family's program, but pissing and moaning is you're correct on that.
I stand corrected.
He's just acting like his president. I apologize.
He doesn't know any better, I guess.
Yeah, but we're a better country as a result of it. And
of course,
we're helping to solve
absolutely.
the problem, and people are correcting those problems through logic. And there are people that are capable of doing that, and we're surrounded by those people. But you can't do it sitting in a hole and not reaching out.
But a large part, I think, is there's so much negative stuff going on out here in the United States in reference to what we are bombarded with every day, whether it's CNN or NSBC, whatever you call it, Fox, ABC, NBC, etc., etc., etc. This is my take on it. All right, whether it be gerrymandering or anything else, because as you mentioned several times, Henry, that it's going to be that it's going to be changing. Well, it's changing now, but by 2050, all right, whites will be a minority. And in my opinion, shared by probably millions, I hope, out there, is that, for lack of a better word, whites are getting scared. All right, that's why they're putting up these hurdles and bombarding with all of this, as Trump says, fake news. Okay, but it's not fake news. The reality of it is that they are trying to maintain, all right,
a paradigm shift. Is that what you call it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
they're trying to maintain their power
again.
All right, so that's why they're putting all of this this legislation into effect. All right, dismantling this and dismantling that, and creating havoc all around the world. Okay,
but that's a negative point of view that's expected by people who want to tear down everything.
But no, I'm not speaking from a negative point of view. I'm dealing with the reality.
Look how you're threatening the population. You say, okay, by 2050, whites would be in a minority.
I'm not threatening. That's a fact of life. That
may be both good and bad. We can tear this country to pieces if we don't put together the right kind of framework. And this is the lesson that we should learn. We should remember the bad things, but we should never get the lesson that we learned.
Okay, so let me take you to school, Henry.
Okay.
So you're saying that we should do all of those things. Do you know why the
No, I
real name Make America Great Again? It's because they realize the paradigm shift is coming, and they're very nervous. They've been interviewing them, they've been on TV, and they're asking for their families to have more children. But regardless of what you do, you're never going to be able to have enough people to overpower what's coming. And so they're nervous. That's why the immigration is what it is right now. That's why they're pushing. They don't want brown faces. And so they're pushing everybody out because they don't look like them. That's why your own president said that go to Australia or somewhere and get some people. Get them from there, but don't let any other place bring people in, because they're trying to control what comes in, because they think they can control the minority, and they're not going to be able to control it, because you have races that have never mixed that are mixing together now. But look at him. He don't want anybody here.
I won't say that. He says a lot of things that maybe sounds bad to us, but they're really not intended to hurt or embarrass or injure the American people. I don't think that President Trump wants to injure the American people.
What was his point then?
It is a growing trend that whites will become diminished in this country by 2050. But to go out and support and strive and call and direct all of that so that we minimize the dominant group in this area only creates havoc. And these are conversations and black people have a role, and they have to play as we rise up and become dominant in this society.
And what's their role? Because they don't know the role they should be in right now. A lot of people, they're in the wrong role right now.
Well, let me finish this point of view here. We will have a dominant role in American politics in the years ahead. We will have a dominant role in how this country functions if we dare, and we've got the right people at the table. You can't have every person just black at the table. That would be unrealistic.
Nobody's suggesting.
No. Hang on for a minute. We have to learn to live in a pluralistic society, and we have to be able to get along with other people, and not dominate ourselves because other people have done it. We have to be better than that.
We have to remove the privilege.
Well, maybe we have to avoid becoming privileged ourselves.
Well, we're so far from privilege.
I don't know about that. If you live in the United States, you're privileged.
Well, at this time, we must bring the In My Opinion show to a close. This is Ronald Berry Robinson and friends saying, until next time, stay focused.